It's my honor to be here to introduce you some of the success case from Dow and also to learn from your others. I really like what Binu said. Actually, when you talk about sustainability, the biggest challenge and also opportunities, how we have a sustainable business model. So all those can automatically running. We need money to support and incentivize those initiatives. To begin with, let me show you one video that we are working with our partners to deal with some wastes.
Pembuangan ini sekitar sudah 3 tahun atau 4 tahun. Sementara ini dari pemerintah desa menyediakan motor tosa untuk diangkut ke lokasi tempat rencana TPST itu. So being living in this part of the world, actually some of things there might be familiar with this. So that's where the plastic package end with, but that's also the challenges, the mission we start. How we turn this waste into next source of the reuse, recycling, and turning the linear to the circularity. As for Dow, we are, and where I come from the packaging and specialty plus businesses, actually we are quite proud of what plastics has played a role in changing people's life. How we protect on the food packagings in just many different aspects from infrastructure, auto, make lighter vehicles to reduce the fuels, make the food packaging extend food life and safely transport product from point A to point B. And also plastic is something very affordable, can be massive produced at a very reasonable cost. Then it's really help people to improve their living conditions and their lives. But still, at the beginning of this presentation, we need to deal with which is the plastic waste, which is the emission to the environment. So that's where, for Dow, we're seeing there's a 3 missions for the company. First, reduce the carbon. So by 2050, we need to, and we're targeting to reach the carbon 0, but more closer targets by 2030, we will reduce 15% of carbon emission or 5 million metric tons of CO2 emission under condition that we're gonna increase 20% volume. How? I'll come to this later. Second, circularity. We are committed to convert more than 3 million metric tons of the waste into circular and renewable solutions, include mechanical recycling, advanced recycling, and bio-renewable products. And last but not least is where all it starts with, is we also, by design, we want to target all the packagings by design. It can be reusable, recyclable at the first place. We already achieved 80% of those, but still the left 20% is most challenging ones, and we are committed to reach it through our technologies by 2035. But that's only one company. And we need to build a system, an ecosystem to make it work. To where to start, design for recyclability, and where to produce, how we reduce the carbon footprint to produce and processing those plastics, but more importantly, the second life. So when those packaging, when the product has been consumed, how we bring those to the second life. I will come to some technologies later, but most challenging, and also I'm asking the help here, is collections. How we effectively and costly collect this waste
better sorting them, and better reuse them into the second life. That will be opportunity, and that's also the biggest challenges. So we are a material science company, so I will come to some technologies we are working on. Start with, as I mentioned earlier, we need to design those packaging to be recyclable and sustainable at the first place. Actually, look at that. It still follows the through rule and in the right sequence. Reduce, reuse, recycle. The best plastics is actually plastic safe. That's the first place. When we look at the packaging of design plastics, actually very easily you can save the plastic usage at the first place, like rigid to flexible. And to some flexible, there's room for down-gauge 20–30% easily with some more robust, more high performance materials to save the plastic at the first place so it does not end up in the environment. Second, reuse. So we're talking about single use plastics, and there's a great example from Nestle on this straws. So yeah, we want to reduce this single-use plastic, but at the meantime, how can we make some of this plastic used more renewable, so it can be used time and also in some different purposes, like shopping bags. How we make the shopping bags non-woven, by the way, non-woven also making from plastics, if you don't know that, to be more renewable, more usable for those. So that's the reuse. And last but not least, when it has been used, consumed, how to make it recyclable by design. Recycle means some of those is multi-polymer, some of those is easy to contain the contamination, so we make monopolymers to make the recyclable possible. So now we have this waste packaging consumed to the second life. So there are a few options there. Mechanical recycling. Mechanical, by the name is, it does not have any chemical reactions. By washing, sorting, cleaning, that it can produce the recycled plastics. But as a source, actually requires higher quality, less contaminated waste source and monomaterial sources. And for mechanical recycling, it's also a little bit compromises with color, with some of the mechanical properties compromises. So it can probably more suitable for second, tertiary applications, packages, but not for the primary packages. For more stringent ones, like for the food, for the medicals, advanced recycling is the one, and bio. So advanced recycling is where you use the pyrolysis processes to demolecule the plastic waste and re-emphasize them. So you get actually identical, the same product as virgin. So you don't need to re-qualify product. You can just use it as advanced recycling, which is sourcing from the plastic waste, and also bio-based, which is sourced from bio feedstocks. So all the material will be identical the same. It's just different sources, fossil-based, traditional, plastic waste, advanced recycling, and bio-based, that's from bio feedstocks. But of course, because the process actually cost will be higher compared to mechanical recycling. Last but not least, as a carbon, as I mentioned, by design, if you reduce the plastic material, it's already saving carbon. For the mechanical recycling, bio-based, they are all saving carbon. But more importantly, like for Dow, we are announcing the first world-scale complex in Canada, which will be first millimeter term scale as a net zero emission polyethylene complex in the world. We are using a lot of new technology to make sure we have the scope 1 and scope 2 of producing the polyethylene and reach the carbon zero. That's also back to the target I mentioned that we reach 20% volume growth, but by reduce 15% carbon emission by 2030. Doing this, we need a lot of partners. So it's globally, it's not only for project technology, we need partners. We are very proud, even in this part of the world, like Alliance to End the Plastic Waste, Circular Capital, and also SGC, as in Thailand, we have very closely working with them to drive the sustainable project policies. We see the government offers this, how the policy incentivize and accelerate the process of circularity economies. A few examples, as just for the limited time, we have the booth outside. If you want to understand more, we can explore more. But some of those, like we work with a brand owner, Carl, to use our recycled content in their lamine tube, in their home care and personal care products. And also in the middle, we have used this lubricant oil using recycled content, launched in China, and more importantly, we're going to launch in China Plus and come at end of this session, the first fully traceable PCR to be applied in this auto bottles. Last is what we work with PNG as an air capsule, so that you can save the paper corrugate boxes and even the second packages to safely transport the product in the e-commerces, and this is also this raw reusable package, can be easily recycled as a mono material design. So summary on this different timeline. Mechanical recycling is lower carbon, reduce plastic waste, and very reasonable cost, but the compromise is the color and performances. You need some rebalance of this formulation to make it work, and it cannot directly use for the food and medical applications. Advanced recycling address the plastic waste issue with the plastic waste as feedstocks, and its identical performance as virgin, but the cost will be higher. For bio, then you use bio feedstocks. By the way, for Dow, we are committed not using the bio source from the food. We are using bio residues, like most in Asia, used cooking oils as a bio feedstocks. Identical as a virgin, lower carbon, but also increased cost. So upon the client's requirement, we have the full spectrum of the solutions. And with some time left, I want to zoom in a little bit on this mechanical recycling. Apparently, we are committed to provide a higher quality of post-consumer or mechanical recycled content using our technology, using our processes. But also, I also want to share some challenges when we work into this. To be, as some of you may heard, actually, recycled plastic is nothing new in here. As a matter of fact, Asia Pacific, we have the largest, more than 60% of recycled plastics, mechanical recycling I'm referring to, is produced here. But a few years when we into this industry, we figure out this industry exists for one reason, most of them, if not all of them, to save the cost. It's compared to virgin. So it's a cost-driven business. To achieve the lowest cost, actually, some of those not playing by rules. For example, for the waste sources, we figure out there's a different type of waste source, like agricultural films. It's a very good in property, but you have the herbicide, pesticide residues. Cannot be used in the packaging, but some of them are using it. For Dow, actually, we are using it, but we are reused back to agricultural film, to the mulch, to the irrigation pipes. It's okay, but we don't allow to go beyond that. Some is medical waste. Very purity, very low cost, biohazardous, cannot be used. And also, there's some customers require very high quality of the mechanical recycled, no odor, no color, etc. If we produce as normal way, very high cost. Some of us will use to upgrade PIR, post-industrial cycle, to achieve that. So the first thing, actually, when we work into the industry, we want to make sure one thing, PCR is PCR. So sounds as straight as it is, but sometimes it's not the case. Second, most of the businesses are family-owned businesses, so they are very poorly managed, and the conditions poor. So we working on make sure first it's reaches the compliance environments, because some of the produce the water directly emitted to the water bodies. So by the name of the sustainability, actually is polluting the environment. We cannot allow that to happen. Health, how the appropriate protection for the workers, the conditions, and safety, so how we produce that safety. So all those is the standard we work in, because we want to play a role in this, how we help this industry. It's very important to elevate the circularity to be more sustainable in a way to produce. So that's where we're bringing our expertise into this to help them to make the higher quality of the product. And also, last but not least, we have different applications. We have so many customers to stamp Dow's name, stamp our customer names, that we need to make sure it is safe. So we have business risk review processes to make sure all those contaminations, all those hazards, and we test batch by batches, and we have segregated into different categories to use their technologies to avoid and minimize the risk exposure of a customer as for Dow. Because that's also back to what Banu mentioned is, before we talk about all those, we need to make sure our consumer has a peace of mind. They know what they do is good for the environment, but also it's safe for themselves, the family, and their own health. So that's also where I will demand in the team here and all these companies here, how we close a bigger look, how we work together to make things happen, how we transform more waste into the more usable plastics package to reduce waste as a total mission, but also to make our consumers really feel the value that they are contributing and they feel safe about what they are doing. That's all of my presentation. Thank you.